a very warm welcome to the Gama Innovation Conference and Awards 2023.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm very pleased to be here today, quite privileged. I'm Valeria Krynetskaya, and I'm leading the first plant-based venture in GCC region. And I'm here to share briefly with you, because we're limited in time, the story of how we are paving the way towards more sustainable and healthy food system in Middle East. So when we start talking about changing the diets and changing the consumption patterns, it's always important to understand the segmentation of our consumers. And we know that in Europe and in the western part of the world, we're very familiar with the notion of flexitarian. But when it comes to Middle East, of course, this is a very new notion. So if we look at the Middle East, then majority of our population there is still within the omnivore space. We have done quite extensive usage and attitude study, which shows to us that also what is different in Middle East, that the transaction or transition from omnivore to flexitarian is not linear. So first they want to reduce the consumption of the meat, and only then they will start looking into replacement. And that is quite a difference in the region. But we believe that within 3 years, flexitarian consumption group will be quite widespread globally, but also in the Middle East. And you know that we are going to have a COP28 in UAE in a couple of weeks, which we are very proud about. And we're also looking forward for the great outcomes of the COP28, because it's not only about the change of the consumption behavior, it is also about changing the regulation and the policy. So we have high expectations for changing the landscape of regulation, in a way paving the way towards more sustainable consumption in the region. So what have triggered the change in our decision to invest in GCC region to build this plant-based food strategy and the category altogether? Of course, we see that there is the same response in Middle East on pandemic as it was in the rest of the world. People quite concerned about their health, and they clearly rediscover their relationship between the food and how it can impact their health. But what is different versus many other regions in the world is that historically GCC is unfortunately having quite troubling statistics of the lifestyle diseases. So basically pandemic just taken it to a totally new level. Also, governments realize that it's a massive economic burden with the lifestyle diseases that we have in GCC region. We also have a very young population. About 60% of our population are below 35 years old, and they already carry the burden of the lifestyle disease. So therefore, there is a lot of effort also from the government to educate our consumers that it's important to shift diets, it's important to exercise. That is a big effort. And the response from the consumer at the moment is that they are mostly looking for the first generation or for the evolution of their diet towards less salt, less sugar, free from, because obviously they consume the commodities, and commodities in food that we have created, they have been designed not necessarily very healthy, because of that they're still on that journey. They are looking, because of their obesity problems, onto the products that are helping to reduce their weight. But they're also experimenting with the diets. One of the key important elements to drive the change of the consumption behavior in GCC is a doctor or a nutritionist who is suggesting to them what kind of diet they need to follow in order to improve their health and reduce the lifestyle diseases. Unfortunately, plant-based is not yet in the top rank of the diets that they're choosing, because there was no leadership in GCC and no education so far. But we are piloting that with THRYVE as the plant-based venture. We take this responsibility to educate our consumers on the role of the health aspects of the plant-based food. So hopefully in the nearby future, we are going to see that that ranking has changed drastically. So as I said, at the moment they're in a free-from space. It's the first stage of the evolution of the relationship of their food. But going forward, they will be in a full-of goodness space. That's what we THRYVE are doing. We're designing our plant-based meat, I will talk about that a bit later, already intrinsically healthy. So we don't need to talk about free-from, we can talk about full of goodness. And in order to address the challenge of the food consumption in the Middle East, we need to address the center of the plate. And if we look what is on the center of the plate in the Middle East, it's chicken. So that's what's the center of the plate. So specifically in THRYVE, we're addressing the challenge of the chicken. We have done a usage and attitude study in order to understand how the development of reducitarians or flexitarians is happening. And the good news that 80% of omnivores, they are already considering to reduce meat intake because they clearly associate the challenge of the health with consumption of the meat. Also the good news that they are prepared to pay premium. The food in GCC region has a center in culture. So they have very strong relationship with food. So they will not give up on food and they will still pay premium for that. Even if the economical challenges are coming through, they will not deprioritize food. So how we are responding to that as IFFCO, we have decided to invest into the plant-based venture, which we call THRYVE. And we are considering that we have two specific pillars that are very important to make it a success. One is health and another one is sustainability. What we see is important to drive the second generation of the food is to design it very relevant for the consumer. That's why we have designed it based on faba. I don't know how many of you know faba, but faba bean, called in Arabic fool, it's an extremely popular type of food, type of crop that is embedded in Arabic consumption, in Arabic diet. And also, it's one of the most nutritious powerhouse of nutrition in pulses group. It's very high in protein, very high quality of protein, 8 of 9 essential amino acids. It is a source of dietary fiber. It is also a source of the micronutrients. And as we talk about high protein, yes, we discussed a little bit with some of the members here that high protein is on a big agenda in food at the moment. We do not believe in high protein, we believe in a balanced nutrition. It's about the right amount of the protein, high quality protein, in combination with dietary fibers, in combination with micronutrients, so you can actually digest that. So you can actually feel also lighter from consuming your food. And because we have chosen faba bean, we are able to achieve with our plant-based meat exactly that, a healthy design from scratch, which is clean, doesn't have any numbers, any preservatives, and with the help of technology, pairing the great ingredient, the great crop of faba bean, and the right technology, we are achieving this target. The next important point is to make your assortment relevant for the consumer because it's altogether very new category for Middle East. So we cannot just come with Western style of cuisine, just suggest the regular burgers and nuggets and suggest that would be your center of the plate. Of course, this type of cuisine is embedded in their diet too, but it's very important to respect what our consumers are eating every day. So therefore, we have designed the shapes and forms, the marination, that are actually relevant for the consumer so they can take it into their everyday diet in an enjoyable way. So we have shawarma, koftas, shish tawuks, and so on and so forth, whatever the format is relevant for our consumer. And then when we speak about health food, we are no longer speaking in the second generation of food about health for the human. We also speak about health for the planet. So in THRYVE, we are addressing most of the sustainable development goals. We're already recognized for that. We have designed a very proprietary cradle-to-gate system, which takes into consideration sustainability element at every single step of our value chain. And we're also investing in the future into the agriculture, because as one of our rulers, late ruler said, civilization is where the agriculture is. And even though in our particular region we do have harsh microclimate, but it is the limitation of this harsh microclimate that makes us think differently. And by the way, faba bean is one of the examples that can travel around the world. It was born in Middle East, but now it's also growing in Finland. So it's a very resilient crop that can adjust itself and adapt itself to different microclimates. And historically, Middle East had a lot of interesting examples that we can build on going forward in building a healthier and sustainable food. What another beauty about fava bean is that not only it is fabulous on nutrition, as we say, it's also fabulous on sustainability, because it has a very unique root system that is fixating that nitrogen in the soil. So those of you who are from UK probably know that it is used as an intercrop in the cropping strategy to heal the soil. And then, unfortunately, it goes to as the animal feed. So what we do in THRYVE, we are converting that from the animal feed to the directly human consumption, because it's a beautiful crop from the nutritional point of view and beautiful crop from the sustainable point of view. We have conducted life cycle assessment, the first in the region, because we need to educate our government, we need to educate our stakeholders, being scientifically based facts, and compare two systems, the plant-based food system and the animal-based food system, in order to communicate and educate our stakeholders that actually we produce significantly lower environmental impacts. We're saving water, we're saving land, and we are naturally very low CO2 emission cradle-to-gate system. And we have a target to achieve naturally net zero by 2030. Also, what's important is the efficiency. When we design the plant-based food, plant-based meat, is what is the yield of the protein, of the nutrients, and we are very proud that by combining that beautiful fava bean with the right technology, we can actually achieve the yield in nutrition that is much higher. So combining and rediscovering the forgotten crops in different cultures, like in this particular case is fava bean, but there are many more that we still can discover, and then combining that with the technology, with the new food technology that's coming, it enables us to actually deliver the next generation of the food that is clean, that is healthy, and that is sustainable. So that is the way how we in the Middle East or in GCC with THRYVE are paving the path towards the sustainable and healthy system that is also presents a great opportunity for the local food security. And at the end, I just would like to show to you a little video so you can understand how we're going forward with that.
By nurturing our roots, we give life to our future. We feed families. With healthy, nutritious food. We care for the planet by planting the seeds of the future. We are always evolving, changing for the better. Because alone, we make a difference. But together, we create change. Born to thrive.